Okay, one of my lifelong goals and dreams is to do a section hike of the AT, the Appalachian Trail. So right now I've been thinking of planning in years to come, really, doing 10 200-mile section hikes. They'd be about 3 weeks each, and 10 miles a day, which is pretty conservative actually. Would be 20 days on the trail, depending if you take any 0 days. So I have been going through my gear, through hiking type gear, and figured while I'm going through my gear, it's good to be training my body. So I'm just going to take you on a tour here of some of the things I take on my training hikes. My goal is to be able to do in an urban setting, which is relatively flat, and it's where I live, suburban area, a 15-mile hike with 45 pounds on my back. On the AT, you're going to be doing a lot of elevation stuff, so it's going to be a lot more difficult. Of course, 45 pounds is quite a bit, but if you're doing 7 days at a time uh, between resupply, that's probably pretty realistic unless you're doing the ultralight, which I don't partake in. So here's a representation of all the gear. It's basically a substitution of long-term gear or overnight gear, and I'm just going to kind of walk you through this. So this morning it was raining, 34 degrees when I started out. I was planning on doing a 10-mile hike. I did that. It took me 3.5 hours. It was a combination of pavement, dirt trail, and through the park grass. And the easiest was on the dirt trail. The park grass was hardest because you're just walking through that wet grass and it hasn't been cut for a little while, and the pavement was hard because the pavement's just hard on my feet, when you got 40 pounds on your back, 44 pounds. So I started with my leather hiking boots here, which have a Gore-Tex type lining. I walked right through the puddles. It was raining. I walked through the wet grasses. They got wet inside, not soaking wet, but they got wet inside. As I've said on other videos, I use these merino wool socks, these darn tough merino wool socks. I think these are great. I have 3 pairs of them. I wash them in cold water, rinse them in cold water, usually by hand, sometimes in the machine, and then I always let them air dry. Now they do take a while to air dry, but I just don't like put them in the dryer. I think that's too hard on them. And simulating trail life, which is what I'm really trying to do here, is simulate trail life. 3 weeks on the trail straight. You're going to be hand washing stuff a lot and airing it out and living in dirty stuff. One of the decisions I had to make this morning was, what am I going to wear? Of course, I'm going to wear my rain jacket because it's raining. I wear my TAC 511 pants because it's kind of cold out. And what am I going to wear underneath it? And what's my headwear going to be? And usually I would wear this wool shirt here, but I knew I would be sweating and getting hot. So I did not wear the wool shirt. I wore a Polar Max long sleeve underneath my rain jacket, and the zips pit zips were fully unzipped, and that kept me really good because I was sweating. I'm glad I did not put on the wool shirt. That's a Woolrich shirt that always goes with me. It's kind of my daily wear, thing in fall and spring and even through winter, and that was in the pack. I also wear some fingerless gloves. These are nylon with a little bit of leather. Again, I wanted to keep my hands warm. I didn't want to put on the full wool glove liners, so these work real well. Had enough dexterity. Again, I was walking, so I was more than warm enough. For my headwear, I wear this nylon skull cap by Sirius, or Cyrus, however you pronounce it. And then on top of that, I wear a nylon baseball type cap because it's raining, just to keep the sun, which there wasn't any today, but the raindrops off with my eyeglasses. So this is all my gear that I was wearing as far as clothing. Now in my pack, these are substitutions of things that I would take on a multi-day overnight hike. And everything has a parallel to something a little heavier. My Esbit stove, I have a MSR Whisper Light. Again, this is through hiking. I'm not really going to be doing too much bushcrafting, making fires, foraging, pot sticks, that kind of stuff. I'm going to rely on some modern conveniences, so to speak. But this is the kind of stuff I've been taking. I got a 5x7 urethane tarp here. That would be good for making a shelter right away during the day. My Opinel folding saw, and my Opinel knife. I don't have a bushcraft knife. I'm hiking in an urban area, and I'm not going to be making a fire. But again, I want to simulate putting stuff in my pack and getting it out like I would maybe need to do. I have an Esbit stove here with tabs, as well as some aluminum foil and a little chamois for a pot cozy and a windscreen. I always keep my Phoenix LD20 with lithium batteries. Even if I start out at 9 in the morning, it's always with me. My Possibles pouch here with the personal survivor kit, or just, you know, the emergency blanket and little knife and waterproof matches and first aid supplies are all in there. You've seen that before. Hygiene, I have a toothbrush and a razor, and I use hand sanitizer and baking soda, as well as concentrated Dr. Bronner soap. One drop really goes a long way. So that's kind of my hygiene area. Cooking, these are measuring cups. Usually I'm taking stuff like oatmeal, rice, macaroni, and cheese in bulk. And this helps me measure that out in quarter cup increments. I write on the bag how much is a full serving as far as calories go. This helps with my coffee. Cliff bars are fantastic, 230 calories. This is my cooking utensils. I've really tried to lighten this up because it was getting to be like 8 ounces. So what's in here now as far as tools and cooking utensils is a little leather strap to sharpen my open all knife, which is really easy to keep sharp. I know a lot of people like SAKs. I just like the open all because it's easy to keep sharp. Little scouring pad, non-sponge type, just the 3M pad itself. The sponge takes too long to dry and gets stinky and all that. This dries a lot quicker. A little coat hanger here for a pot bail, or to pull my pot off of a fire if I'm going to have one. Mini Bic lighter with a little piece of paracord here and some duct tape and a couple of knots so I can suspend that from my carabiner or whatever. Lexan spoon, pencil. This is my MSR Whisper Light cleaning kit for the valve and to take the gas orifice off. And then one thing I found useful lately is this silicone spatula. When I'm done making oatmeal or rice or macaroni and cheese or whatever it is, I'm doing it inside of a pot, you know, my Glacier stainless steel cup or my 1 liter anodized aluminum pot. If I don't have any paper towel or extra stuff like that, what I do is I just use this to scrape all the extra food out, and of course I can eat it that way, and the pot really gets pretty clean. This can be used as a stir device to stir up my macaroni and cheese or whatever while I'm cooking it, because silicone doesn't melt until it hits 450 degrees. So as long as you keep it out of direct heat in boiling water, you're fine. So stir it up, and really to scrape everything out. Weighs 0.8 ounces with the handle cut off, and it really saves on the cleanup time, big time. For water, I take 3.5 quarts of water, 2 quart USGI canteen, 1 quart Nalgene, 1 pint Nalgene. That's full of water when I start all my day hikes in the morning. I can't see going in a Midwestern environment, desert, to even more water. You need at least 3.5 quarts a day. You don't know where water's going to be, so I start off with 3.5 quarts. That's about 7 or 8 pounds of water in containers. Of course, the stainless steel nesting cup. I just like that thing because it's so convenient. I can put it on a fire. It nests right there, so I think that's great. And then I'm using my Kelty Redwing as my training pack with this rain cover. Now this rain cover is for my large pack, but I just bunch it up underneath there, and it worked great. It kept everything dry today and works great for that pack. I have a 12-inch by 14-inch sit pad here out of closed cell foam pad. When it's wet or cold, I just put that on. Even when I'm around a fire at night and stuff, I put that on the picnic table or a stump, because if it's wet and cold, sitting down on that is really a hassle. So that's my gear. And then to simulate extra food, sleeping bag, tent, and a larger pack, and maybe a couple more clothes, you know, which I would probably take 1 extra pair of nylon pants, and of course some underwear and t-shirts, and 2 extra pairs of socks. To simulate all that is a 25-pound dead weight. So that goes in the REI, or that goes in the Kelty Redwing, and that's what makes my 44 pounds. So that's my training schedule. Usually do 3 miles every day. Today I did 10 miles. I'm tired, but 3.5 hours. I pushed it, had a lot of breaks, had fun. Thanks.